Hello there. Today we are going to be doing the final installment of the buildings that are non-residential. And of course, we're going to start where we started the series, back in the Plains Village. Now, we're going to be making a Lancer's workshop, and it's going to be a communal workshop, just like the casting blacksmith. Now, this will be an area where you can cut wood to produce handles, where you can actually emboss the handles, wrap them with fabric, and put the pommel on the back of the lances, and where you can take copper sheets and actually roll those copper sheets after heating them up into a pointed cone for the actual lance head. The lance heads will be made hollow and then filled with the wooden spike that is produced from making a wooden lance from the workshop. So we'll just be putting a copper cap on top of a wooden lance, lore-wise at least, to give it some extra backing. Now, of course, we're gonna have this as a slanted roof again, so I'm gonna change how these pillars are set in just a moment. But we need to get the floors in first. So I'm going to raise up the entire outer edge by a few blocks. Actually, I'll raise it all up by one, and then I'll raise these up by two to give it the slanted look, to match the rest of the buildings in this area. Now, this back area is going to be all stone brick, as it is where you'll actually be heating copper sheets to weld them together into a cone to fit on top of a wooden spear to make a copper lance. Where the fishing village or the woods village has their bows and their ships as their primary weapons, with a lot of very heavily armed troops. Well, with a few heavily armed troops. Here at the Plains Village, everyone has a weaker set of armor in exchange for having everyone armed, and with the ability to use horses from the stable that we've made here to actually have lancers alongside our normal troops. Now, this outer area is going to be a kind of balcony area, so I want to set in a door. I think in between the beams should work well enough. Now, this is a lot of oak and stone bricks. I may come back to refurnish this area later to give it a bit more variation, but for now, this is going to be almost a purely functional community building. So it would be made of functional materials. Planks, unstripped logs, and bricks to prevent a fire hazard for the actual heating area over here. Now for the roof, I'm not going to use a slab design, even though that is what I tend to do with this set. Instead, if it's going to be a less gradual roof using these stairs, though I may get some use out of slabs somewhere. So I'm going to link oak stairs directly to stone brick stairs here. Not everyone knows that you can do this, although just connect like that. And I'll bring it out one, just to give it a sort of balcony look. And from every corner here, you see I usually use two sets of slabs. I'm just going to use a stair to bridge the gap up a full block in one go instead. There we go. Bring that out an extra block. And the stairs here. So above the wooden area, it's going to be fully wooden stairs for the roof, as you wouldn't want to use extra work making custom stone stairs for an area that just doesn't need it. I'll also show you here quickly, it does look a little weird, the actual bottom. I have to bring these stone stairs in one block because I miscounted. Right now, we have to get it functional and ready, and then I'll do a short showing off any changes I made to it afterwards. I'm just going to use a night vision, the longer version of them, so that you can see what I'm doing a little better. As brightening it in post as possible, but it does give it a kind of fuzzy look on occasion, so I prefer to avoid it. I'm going to secure that so it doesn't drip in the rain. And you see, I'm just going to cast this out. And then you'll have a look from the top in a second. So even if you went through the trouble of making extra stone stairs, they'd look odd. Bring out this roof one more block. Yeah, look at that. So I'm just going to use oak stairs there as well. And I want this to have a one block like lip over the edge to match the rest of the veranda. And I'm going to smooth it from the bottom of stairs while also continuing the point of stairs on the top. This would mean that this Plains village has more active militia units than the woods camp. But it doesn't have any, like, full-time soldiers. No one trained to actually be military the entire time. It's just a group of armed laborers and workers for the most part, all with the same equipment. Chainmail, it'll stop a lot. It's good against bows, which is one of the reasons why we're using it against what would be the wood camp if they decided to be aggressive. But not as good as the plate that the wood camp is producing. So there we go, put some doors on it. And now outside here is where we're going to put some stone cutters to use as set dressing as like wood saws and some actual wood supplies. So this is where you would turn treated or seasoned timber into the actual wooden components for a lance. So if you put campfires out over here, then take a shovel and actually put out the campfire. It looks like stacked oak logs. It's about as close as we get in vanilla. And then I'll have a pile of stripped logs here as well to serve as the primary, like, actual stockpile that you would take from in order to cut the handles for a lance. Then the next area inside, you see we're going to be making copper lances, is going to be the embossing and handle area. I'm gonna need a crafting table and a workbench area. I think. Let's see, not a grindstone here. Barrels, yes, to hold the actual sticks. Stairs like this, you get a kind of workbench looking setup. There we go. A barrel for the items, and a crafting bench in the corner. Now this area will be used to put the actual pommel and handle wrap onto a wooden lance before moving it to the next area. The stone brick area will be fully for taking heated up copper sheets that are produced in the casting blacksmith and heated up in these blasting furnaces and rolling them into a pointed sheet before cutting off the excess. I'm going to fill in these windows because they don't much make sense from here. Where you would use an anvil to roll and weld fully. So that's for the point. Let's see. And now I'll light up the internals as well. 3 in here. I think I'll just do 2 here. And then some outside lights as well. Along the roof here. And one behind the saws so you can always see what you're doing. Now you could put more on the outside here, but that would require breaking the pattern and making like an actual point where you could hang it from. And I don't want to use torches, so I'll go with that. For the windows, we're just going to use some oak fences, so they act as kind of like shutters. I've shown this all before. There we go. And now to actually do a little bit of set dressing. Not fully, but I'll do a starting point. I'll need some copper nuggets and a stick. Because in here, copper nugget will be the pommel. That's the very bottom of the blade. That's the very bottom of the spear that you can see on the model. And in here will be where you take copper sheets, 3 of them, and weld them together in a cone before cutting off the excess on the anvil. There we go. Fully built out Lancer